Oh, welcome back to another special edition, weekend, early edition of the Hockey Nation Live Show. This is your co-host, Coach Frenchy, back in the house. Listen, I don't know you all like you, but I went to the bed at 4 a.m. this morning because I was too excited. I cannot sleep. I have a difficult time to sleep. So, and then at 8 o'clock, I was at the gym, but listen, this was an amazing, great night last night. The Montreal Canadiens win 3-2 in OT. Josh Anderson make us to have a great night, and it was so fun last night. It was great to see Montreal find a way to score after one of the biggest mistake maybe in the playoff by the goaltender, Marc-Andre Fleury. We have a full program, guys, this morning. We have going to find Michael Devaney is going to join us in the next couple of minutes, where he's going to have the review of the game. We have a couple of news around the league and NHL. I want Michael talk about this, what he think about that situation. We have two news, really big, I believe, for me. And then, of course, going to talk about the game, Montreal Canadiens and the Vegas Golden Knight. And we're going to go preview the game very quickly between the New York Islanders and, of course, the Tampa Bay Lightning. They play tonight at 8 o'clock. We're going to be live stream tonight at 7:45. And game number 4, the Tampa Bay lead right now 2-1. And finally, at the end of the show, about 15-20 minutes, we're going to do the games called Deal and No Deal. We have the general manager, Michael Devaney, is going to be a part of this game. You guys, you have to make some proposal to Michael. Tell him which team is the GM, and he's going to deal or no deal with you. But before we start, like we do every time we show up the morning at 11 o'clock, we welcome everybody. For first of all, Mr. Nicolas the Gooby Bono, directly from Sherbrooke, from Houston, Texas, Joseph Lanham, somewhere in Florida. I never know, honestly, if Kimberly is from Tampa. I know she's a big fan of Tampa Bay Lightning. Also, she's a big fan of Montreal Canadiens. So she's maybe the best person, because she's more happier here in the building because her two favorite teams all right now are the Final Four. So, Kimberly, Aina. Oh, we have Mr. directly from NDG, Eric. Welcome back to the house. Directly from Boca Raton, Dave Zucker. And of course, I remember me, Mr. Javier Zavala. And I believe I saw somewhere, somehow, directly from Moncton, New Brunswick, Mr. Brian and Minnie Lepotillier. And talking about welcome everybody, why not welcome our co-host this morning, directly from the West Coast, California. It's only 8 o'clock 07, but he's always awake. He's always ready for the show, Mr. Michael DiVillano. Wow, Mr. Michael, he's ready to rock and roll this morning.
It's only 8.
Only 8, not too bad. I like the fact you did not move your jersey on the right and the left, so that's pretty cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Talking about welcome, why not to welcome Mr. Johnny Golden. Welcome aboard, Johnny. Hopefully you're ready for the show. So we have a big show, Michael, today, and I can't wait to see that. It will be interesting to see what we're going to do, honestly. And but first of all, I have a couple of news. Maybe you did not hear that, but happening yesterday in the NHL. And we have a lot of fans, but they are maybe not here yet, the fans of the Panthers, Michael, but we have fans directly from Florida. Usually we have Tim the Gator and also Michael Rosenblatt usually are here. And the reason I mentioned them this morning, whatever they are not here, we need to talk about this news happening last night. Very surprised, but maybe he deserved it. And I thought it was going to be the one finished third. I was wrong. So
Really?
far,
I
I'm
thought he
0
might.
2 right now.
Yeah, well, I think we said this the other day. I was like, I think he might win it, but I mean, all three were really good candidates, right? Like, and the fourth was Ryan O'Reilly, so that's pretty good comparison. I think you had highlighted someone that came 15th that I was kind of like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Well, who was it that came 15th and blanking out all of a sudden?
I'm sorry again?
It was Well, there was someone that was 15th in voting, and I'm like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
think one thing about this, Michael, when I see Barkov, it's amazing. Like when you see Bergeron, 10 times straight finalist of this trophy. The long time ago, I'm sure remember like Bob Gainey, right? Bob Gainey
Right.
was the one. He was always there every year.
Won it every year.
You know what I mean? And then I think Bergeron is, it's a little bit like Lance Ram for Detroit with the Norris, right? He was there every year. I think Edmonds become the one regular also on the Norris. But listen, this is the first time in Florida Panthers and history over 25, 26 is 93. So we are about 28 years maybe now. And players from them win the Frank Selke. I think that show a little bit more what Barkov does. And he's start to be more recognized around the league. For me to see him every year, it's easier. But people like outside, because the first time, Michael, they play on NBC Sport. It's amazing. Since the beginning of Barkov in the NHL, they played this year 2 times. It was the first time.
It's crazy because like you always have to see Washington and Pittsburgh over and over, and I'm like, I'm glad we see some other teams. Like Florida had such a great season, and I think when he's healthy, like you see how great this guy is. He's a big man in the middle. If you're a coach, this is what you dream of: is having a guy that plays a 200-foot game, gets over a point a game, makes everyone around him better. Like I'm really excited he won this. The one that I thought was interesting was fourth, which is Eriksson Ek from Minnesota.
Absolutely right about that one over there.
Like, wow.
Yeah, we know already Ryan O'Reilly will be a part of that, right?
Yeah, Ryan's every
He's
year.
always been there, and I think he's another one. He took he was maybe in the shadow a couple of players in Colorado. He stepped up in Buffalo, but I think Buffalo did not treat him very well. But already since he's in St. Louis, he's really we talk about Tarasenko, we talk the potential over there. I really believe for me, the factor of Blue St. Louis, it was been Ryan O'Reilly.
Of course, yeah. I mean, first of all, Buffalo was just a mess, and I think he hated it because he saw there was no way out of that. Colorado really undervalued him, and they didn't want to pay him the money he had, and that's why he left. And now we see why. Like, there was Matt Duchene there was Paul Stastny, and they were like, oh, we already have 2 better center. I'm like, no, you don't. So
Isn't
I
that
think they just
funny you mentioned about Stastny in Colorado?
Sorry?
Isn't that funny? You remember like Stastny in Colorado?
Yeah. You mean you associate with him being
Right.
in Colorado all the time?
Did Paul Stastny play in Colorado?
That's where he started.
Yeah. So it's amazing when you think about this. Like people don't remember that. Like, you know what I mean? Like when we remember those years, it was more about O'Reilly, Duchene, those kind like
And
that.
then a young McKinnon, but it was,
And we forgot
Stastny,
a lot of time Paul Stastny started over there.
I mean, I think he had one good offensive year, and Paul Stastny's a really good 200-foot player, but he doesn't have offensive creativity. Like he's not his dad. And what I think neat about it is that his dad played for Quebec, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's technically the same franchise.
Yeah, but I mean, he stayed there for many years in Colorado. By the way, Stastny is still there. They have some still house over there, and
Oh, do they?
in Quebec, and also in Colorado. So it's he grew there. Paul Stastny, honestly, he grew there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's American because he was born there, I thought. No? Oh, no, wait. Was he born in Quebec? I thought he was American, Paul Stastny. He was maybe born in
American, or maybe have a doubles.
Yeah, I think he might have been born in St. Louis or something.
Yep.
Oh, no, it's Quebec City.
Yep.
Oh, he was born in Quebec City. Okay, never mind. Anyways, I'm really interested at number 4 there. Like Eriksson Ek, when he first came in the NHL, and not to take anything away from Barkov, like I think this is amazing news. I'm excited about this because people are recognizing how good Barkov is for him to be in that class. But Eriksson Ek is interesting for me because when he first came in the NHL, he scored a bunch in a short window, and then they sent him back to Sweden. And then he came over. He didn't seem to get production. I think we're seeing now, like he just didn't get the opportunity. So here he's getting he's a much better player than any of us realize. Like I'm excited for the future of Minnesota.
Definitely over there. We have a lot of people, Michael, talk about the referee last night, but I'm going to bring this case to you in the next couple of minutes because I think you have something for that. But talking about Minnesota, Michael, I don't know if you heard this rumor yesterday. Came out late, but Kaprisov quit the Minnesota Wild.
Come on.
Yep.
He's going back to Russia?
Yep. So the point he mentioned is like right now from Chris Peters or someone from TSM said the negotiation right now is really cold between Minnesota and Kaprisov because the KHL want to bring back one specific team, start with a K, I'm not remember the name of the team, but because the Olympic Russia have the Olympic team this year, so he's thinking maybe stay over there. Again, this is only
CSKA is like CSKA is like the old Russian army team. So it's basically it's the legendary. That's wacky.
Yeah, so that's the rumor about the fact like maybe he will stay there, play in the KHL 1 year, and be a part of the Team Olympics for Russia. And because right now, I don't know, you have a discussion, maybe the player cannot go there or something like that. I don't know what we are with that situation, but that's what they talk about this. Before that, Michael, I want to welcome Mr. Xavier from Sainte-Brigitte de Quebec. Xavier, Xavier is the best friend of, he's the one helping Frank's Wells on the YouTube channel. So Xavier is the one, a part of the show over there. So I just want to mention him, part of the show this morning. Thanks, Xavier, to be a part. Of course, we have to talk about Kaprisov. We talk about Russia, Michael. We have to welcome directly from Russia, Oleg Kolesnikov, back in the house today. And that's pretty much what we have. But that's a shock news, Michael, to see Kaprisov.
I don't think it's anything.
I don't think so will happen, but it can.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think Pierre, it's a negotiating thing. He's at his buddy's wedding in Russia, is what they say. I'm sure CSKA and Putin want this guy back, but like, what's he going to do there? It's not the same. I mean, here's the big ice, and here's like a crazy place to be.
Yeah,
this guy needs to play in the NHL for the next 10 years and be a superstar. Like, are you going to watch
about that one over there? Sure.
You're going to be Artemi Panarin?
Zab said, Michael Zab said it's going to be a big loss for Minnesota. Of course, right now, Michael, I'll be honest with you, I put Kaprisov maybe the top 10 best player in the NHL.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure he could score 40 goals next year in the NHL.
Oh, he might score 50, Pierre. Yeah. He's like an elite talent, and he's older, so you don't have to wait for him to mature. So I think he's going to get big bucks, and he probably deserves it. Like, he might get 8-9 million.
Yeah. So what's my question after that? I know we have a lot of news coming up, but and quickly in 30 seconds, what if you are the GM Minnesota we build, or what do you think he's going to get, or what are you looking to pay him next season? We know he's 24, so he still have like 3 years maybe before a UFA maybe.
What does Artemi Panarin make? 10 million?
I'm sorry again?
Artemi Panarin makes 10 million?
Right now?
Yep.
I don't know. I think he's 11.5, Michael.
Yeah, so you got to think this guy's going to get 8-9 million. I mean, what's the difference between him and Artemi Panarin? He might be a better goal scorer.
How we go with $9 million, 8 years?
Yep. I think you do it because this guy has shown he can turn the franchise around. He's an elite level talent, and he's 24, Pierre. He's at the best. It's not 18, and you're wondering.
Yep.
He's come over, and he just ripped apart the league. He's so talented.
Absolutely right.
And he doesn't take a shift off. This guy does not take a shift off.
I know he's another one like the building like Olive Ovechkin, to be honest with you, where he's sniper, see his net, can score.
He
Not
is.
that he play like Ovechkin because we talk
No,
about it too.
Ovechkin's lazier. Ovechkin's way lazier than this guy. This guy is like a cross between.
Pavel
He's like
Puri,
Panarin.
Pavel Puri,
He's
and
like
Panarin.
right. Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. He's
Yep.
got both
Yep,
skill
I
sets.
agree with you about that. It's absolutely right. We have Mr. the Barber, Michael, directly from British Columbia, Reggie Beaulieu. Welcome aboard. He, as Zab, he just asking you how many dollars for Kaprisov. I think you answer him $9
Yeah, I
million.
think
That
he's
would
gonna
be
get
like
at
a good
least
place for
4 million.
him. Yeah,
He might get more than that.
yeah. I agree with you about that one over there. Talking about another big news, it's coming from yesterday. Um, do you recognize number 77?
Doc, yeah.
Betrayed
I'm not gonna trade him.
for Zed Jones.
Why?
Because they need a different. I think it's not a bad trade.
But Seth Jones has no contract. So Seth Jones, if he signs a contract, maybe. But I would not give up Kirby Doc. Where are you going to get Kirby Doc again?
I think they feel like again, this is a rumor, very deep, but I just mentioned this to you. Like I don't have no, that's what I'm looking for, what I want. But it's like it wasn't.
If you're Chicago, you don't.
I was like, hey, I was shocked, but at the same time, it would make sense. At some point, if you want to give Seth Jones,
For sure.
you have to give something solid, right?
Yeah. But he's an unrestricted free agent. So why do you care? Like Seth Jones is not going to put Chicago over the top. Kirby Doc will. Like Kirby Doc is going to be a legit number one center in the NHL. He's got all the tools. He's 6'4". He's smart. He's got lots of skill, and he doesn't take shifts off. He plays a 200-foot game, and you just got to project like in 2 years, this guy's a point-a-game player probably.
I agree with you about that. He's going to be a good hockey player. Good, I think he can score 30 goals per season. I think he could be a dominator in NHL for sure. But when you trade for a big star like him, like a star, he can become a good star. And Zed Jones, I think that's it. That's pretty even, I believe, for my book. Now, Zed Jones has one more year to go. He's going to be UFA in 2 years, but they're going to be trade Zed Jones this year. At some point, they're going to trade him.
Yeah. You don't trade a 2001 who still has like entry-level contract status.
This is absolutely right. If you want to get something in return for John Michael, you have to find someone between 25 to 28 years old, age, like Zed Jones at the same level, at the same level like that, like Zed Jones.
Yeah, or unless Seth Jones says, I agree to X contract for 6 years. If it's a sign and trade, then you think about it. But I really think it's a mistake trading Doc.
But I think for Chicago, Michael, to have a solid player like Seth Jones with Kane and old stuff like that with Derp and Cat, I think that's give them a really solid. But for me, I would. But I don't know. It maybe give something a prospect like Sutter with Strome and a first round pick. I will go that direction more at.
Yeah, I would try that.
Sense?
Again, it might not be enough. I get it. So if you look at they might be looking at their draft, right? And if you look in the draft, if Chaz Lucius falls to 12, which is 11 really, or Cole Sillinger, more so Chaz for me. I think if Chaz Lucius is there, Chaz is underrated right now because he had the injury. He's as good as any of the forwards in the draft. And you go, okay, I can get Chaz, but he's still not Kirby Doc. Chaz is very high end.
Yeah.
But I think Kirby Doc is he's a 2001 birth year. He's 20. And you watch him, you're like, holy crap, this is like a dream. Yeah. Third overall pick.
We have a question for you, Michael. Zach asking you, Zed Jones, $7.5 million, 5 years. What do you think about that?
I don't know if he would agree to that. I think that's the right number, but he might not agree to that number. He might want 8, but I don't know. I think 7.5. If you can get him for that, you're pretty happy.
If I get this, Zach, I will offer him more $7 million for 8 years.
I don't know if he'd sign that, but yeah, maybe. He feels like, I mean, what did Dougie Hamilton make last year? Was he 7.5 or
Yeah,
7.8? He's better than
7.5.
Doug. So he has less goals, probably similar points to Hamilton. He's more, I don't know. He's probably more physical, can skate just as well. So I think whatever those guys are probably in the same range.
Yeah. We welcome Zachary West. So welcome aboard, Zach. Pleasure. But I think it was really special to see that, Michael, to hear about that. The next game I want to talk to you is this one over there. We have 32 days, Michael, until the expansion draft. I'll be interested. I'm going to do a show for sure, a couple of shows about which player is going to be protection for everything like that. But from that now, my question comes to you. This first of all is to show people 32 days before the expansion draft. But my question is about when and who do you believe the Ron Francis is going to select as the head coach for the new team for the Kraken? I don't want you to talk about the building. That's just kidding.
Yeah, no, the building's gem. Rick Tocchet, I think, is a reasonable selection now that Gerard Gallant's gone. I don't know why you wouldn't talk to Mike Babcock. I mean, I think Babcock got a bum rush in Toronto. He's an elite top 10 coach, no matter what way you cut it. That team, you look at Toronto, they were probably a year ahead of expectations. And the things that he was criticized for were like, oh, why are you playing Zach Hyman so much? Well, that's because he knew. This was a kid that came out of Michigan. Like, you look at the pieces he put in, he's like, yeah, we got to play a 200-foot game. This is not a country club. And if you don't like getting feedback, too bad. Yeah. And they so I think if I have a young, not even a young team, if I have a team of guys that are looking for redemption, just like Vegas, it's like they get picked off other teams. What better guy than a guy looking for redemption that is legitimately an elite coach? I would go Mike Babcock personally. But I don't know what Ron Francis has shown. He has a really deep set of relationships in the NHL. So it'll be interesting to see if he's just waiting to see if anybody else shakes loose. I like Bob Hartley. I like Mike Babcock. I think Rick Tocchet might legitimately be in the running. I'm not sure who else is up for this.
And 30 seconds, Michael, we have a question not a question. He said, Icy Monkey said, first of all, we welcome him, Michael. He's a new subscriber. Expansion draft would be crazy. But my question to you about that is, do you believe it's going to be what look like Vegas? Do you feel like they're going to be close like Vegas got? Do you think they will be strong like Vegas? Or it's not going to be that way for that one because any reason?
I don't see a lot of deals. I don't think people are wheeling and dealing. They're just saying take a player, I don't care. And I think that's the difference. I think people realize now that if they just waited, maybe they would have had an Alex Tuck, right? Minnesota with Alex Tuck right now would look pretty damn good. So I think that people are going to approach this differently. They're going to value older assets less and expose them if they can. It's like even they're not going to clutch their pearls over that, and they're going to protect the young assets because it did work out for everybody. Like, okay, I don't know. I think it worked out more for Vegas, obviously, overall. I still think it's very rich, the rules. And I think what you're seeing is there's a lot of unrestricted free agents for a reason.
Yep.
I think it's unprecedented. It's not just COVID, it's partially the expansion draft where they're like, I'm not going to protect this old asset. I'll take my chances on the open market. And I think GMs are very much like they communicate, right? And they're competing against each other, but they're also a copycat thing in the NHL. I think that there's probably a consensus that if I had to do it over, this is how I would do it. And that's what's going on.
Two different subjects, but they come together. So I will show you the first one. Don't answer yet, and then we add the second one. Has Patrick Roy found a home yet? And he was looking. So my question would be, do you feel he could be in Seattle? My second thing is about Eric. He's John, but it's Eric. Seattle get a team while Quebec stays stupid with their Coliseum. I wonder if Batman hate Quebec. So Patrick Roy, do you feel him in Seattle? Second thing, why do you believe like Quebec cannot get a team right now?
Yeah. So the answer on um, Quebec is they have the best arena, not in the NHL. And the only reason that they're not in the NHL, I believe, is because of TV rights. Because if you look at the teams that are in the USA that don't have the fan base, they don't care because the way it works is when you go to negotiate a TV package, the reason Vegas fit in really well, aside from the fact it's Vegas, it's not a traditional hockey market, is because they're number 3 or 4 in the TV rankings. And what that does is when you go to negotiate, it bumps up your overall package for everybody.
You're
That's
absolutely
the
right
same
about that because if you have a team with a state like in Seattle, in Arizona, in Florida, in
Arizona and
Nashville,
Seattle.
in Tennessee, so that the station get view all around the country,
Right.
and that's what they're looking for, and that's the
That's what
reason
they're
why he
looking
want a
for.
team there.
Because when you put it on NBC and if they don't have a local team, there's not interest, right? So by having Arizona, which loses 20-30 million dollars a year, their arena's in the totally wrong part of Phoenix. It's a mess. They'll never make money unless they move. They don't care because they keep hot potatoing because it makes money for every team because it's a top
Exactly,
6 team. And
exactly.
so you add Seattle, Seattle's a top 5 TV market.
Yeah,
And you add Quebec, it's not even the top 20 because it's not a US organization. It's nobody's going to care. They're going to have a lot of revenue locally and in Canada, but that doesn't help the NHL.
definitely. Patrick Roy, yes or no only for Seattle?
No.
Perfect. Next question, Michael. This is our best friend. Um, Not only for the game last night, but weekend targeting. Why? And this was the subject all around the Twitter account after the game. And again, I'm not going to, it's not a. My point here is not about because Montreal Canadiens. It's happening to Perry yesterday, but it's happening a lot of
That was
time. I think you have a playoff game between Colorado and Vegas, I believe, where one of the two teams has like 3-4 times could have a penalty. Oh, it was Winnipeg, Michael, against Edmonton. Winnipeg have like about 5 penalties. Edmonton have 3-4 penalty. They never call it was Winnipeg, whatever it is. And on the OT, I know you mentioned this is OT, but at the end of the day, when you have the high stick on the face, you see Perry with completely blood around the face and leave the ice and completely. What do you feel about that? We have a lot of people talk about this in the chat, so I want to bring this to you. What's your reaction about that?
It was a mistake, obviously. You can't have a player getting clipped on the nose and bleeding everywhere. I think it's just a screw up. I don't know if there's bias. I think generally, there's different things that happen in hockey and it's not new, which is, hey, it's overtime. Some guys will put away their whistles and let stuff go. And sometimes that's how they interact with both coaches. So it also depends on the reputation of the player. Like looking at Corey Perry, NHL refs will never give him the benefit of the doubt because he's always a rat, right? He's always doing things to piss other people off, and it makes the ref's job harder. So I'm sure that sometimes comes into it. I just think it was an important game, and they didn't want to decide anything with penalties. And I think there's always going to be challenges when you have refs. There's 4 guys on the ice, so generally I think they get it right, and they're very liberal on how they go to camera review. That was obviously a screw up. When I looked at it from the one view, which maybe was the view of the ref too, Marchessault was going for the puck. It hit Perry and then clipped him, right? But the one view, I didn't see the clip part. It looked like he was faking it.
It was
But then
funny because, Michael,
if
if
you
you see the
rotate it, you're
replay,
like, oh, you're clipped.
if you see the replay, it's a contact of the another stick hit the stick of the defenseman
Right.
McNabb, I believe, and
Yeah.
he's almost like barely hit Perry. It did not
Yeah,
look like straight on the face, and I think the stick, the blade just touched the nose, and he make a big cut over there about that, and he was left. He did not return to the ice after that. But he was shaking the hands of everybody.
It wasn't like he wasn't slashing at him. I think
That's the point. I think you have a
it was
contact with another stick, and
but not even that. Like he was going after the puck.
yeah,
So the puck was in the air. He tries to swat it, hits the stick, hits the arm, hits the face. Right. So I think I don't think that's a bias. I think that's just a miscall.
Oh yeah,
And it's
definitely was
questionable.
a
Like, what do you
miscall
do?
right
It's like,
there
well, he wasn't
because
trying to
that
hit him.
you know, like I Zav, you normally Zav is a 4 minute, no question. It's an
I
automatic
think so.
4 minute. If it was a regular game or
Yeah.
whatever it is, I would like to see what happened at 6 minutes 45 seconds at the beginning of the game or third period, second period, whatever it was. I think they will be called. But again, I think it's
Yeah, I
not
think it was
right. It's not fair. It's not like
no.
some stuff like that burn the the game at some point. Like Michael, Winnipeg and Montreal was terrible. At least 3-4 penalty. And I'm not talking about second period. I'm talking about OT. I understand they don't make a big difference, but it's something like it's like if you go a breakaway, Michael, right now, and the guy tripped the guy, you just let it go. You say, I don't give the penalty. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
like,
I think it's really tough. You need to have a balance, but every crew is different, and they get instructions too of how to call things. And then but they also have a lot of autonomy too, where you can't criticize them, you can't critique them. So it's a weird setup always with refs. And I just think if you're a coach, I understand it's frustrating for fans. If you're a coach, I always go into every game, Pierre, and I go, I don't know the rules. And I'm not looking for consistency for the refs because I never see it.
yeah.
You'll see consistency within a game. And that's the way I always approach it from the bench. And it just says, okay, this is why we practice power play, penalty kill all the time, because I just don't know. And I've had teams where I would get 10, 12 penalties and the other team gets 2. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so let's figure out a score shorthanded.
And my next point, I think one thing NFL does well, Michael, like the Monday after all the game happening or the Tuesday after all the game, the NFL step up some stuff like that. They will said the referee or this guy messed up. They did the wrong decision or they did something wrong. I think NHL should step up like that and say, you know what? Just tell them they mess up there. They should give the penalty, something like that.
So I think that they talk privately to these guys consistently. There's a lot of feedback there. It's not like they're just let them go, and they rate them internally and they don't release that to fans. The other part is, you probably remember back in maybe it was late 80s, the referees, they took all the names off the back of their jerseys. So there used to be definitely, like in the days of, Carey Fraser and all these guys, there was an ego thing for sure. And I think it's less so now, but it's not zero. There's still every officiating. Like, the guy that was interesting was Ron Wilson, and Ron Wilson would keep video and stats on every referee.
Yeah.
And he would sit there and he goes, well, they keep, they do this to us. Why don't we do this to them? So he knew how to go into every game, and he could argue facts or he could prepare for the ref. So it's not it's weird, but
we welcome a Canadian James directly from Westmount. Welcome aboard, and of course our best friend also, March, bro. Welcome aboard. Glad to see you guys over there.
I gotta step away for 2 seconds, Pierre. Sorry.
All right,
1 sec.
No problem. Directly from Newfoundland, welcome, March again. We have March from Newfoundland. We have also Xavier from Saint-Brigitte de Laval. We have also Brian directly from Moncton, New Brunswick. And of course, we have John and Eric in Montreal. We have a couple of them. We're going to wait Xavier, which is mentioned. I see Monkey also part of the game. We have Reggie from BC. We have... I forgot Dave from Boca Raton is around here. Zachary West is at in the house this morning. We have Reggie, like I mentioned, Nicolas from Sherbrooke. We have and Brian, like I mentioned. We have a lot of people. Be honest, we have for the Monday morning. We have a few more people. Don't forget, guys, to click on the likes and to click Mattman in the house. Welcome, Mattman and Olivia, his daughter. Welcome aboard.
Hey, are we? What's our game plan, Pierre? Are we going to do deal or no deal? I'm ready to deal.
Yeah, we're coming there, but I want to mention about the this game about that, Michael. Give us your comment. I'm going to go through his friend
Oh, the
graphic.
game last night?
Yeah, right. And we're going to go through his friend's graphics and then talk about the game. Your comments about this. What do you think? What do you feel? And what do you see about the game? Everything like that. And I will let you talk about this.
So in general, I mean, Vegas was all over them, man. They were throwing everything but the kitchen sink at them. Um, what was it, like 45-15 or something? Or 45-27. But
Yeah.
at one point, they didn't even have 20 shots. So I think there was definitely, Carey Price, like you've got to give all credit. But I think I said to you on the broadcast, I do not trust Fleury in this situation. And I think I've just seen him too many times. And I think Montreal knows this. That's why I was like, Montreal, throw the puck to the net, because he was handling the puck strange. He was overcommitting on shots that weren't really dangerous to put him in the corner. And I'm like, I don't trust him. And there's Carey Price, like square to the puck, keep control, rebounds, handling the puck well. I'm like, this is not done. And I got to give a lot of credit. Like Josh Anderson has kind of struggled. I think you see the limitations in his game. Like I was saying this to you before, like he has a lot of goals and not a lot of assists. And when you watch him, he's very much a one-on-one player. So if he's not getting in the open, he's not scoring. So I think it was great. He was been battling. So it was nice to see him pop through a couple goals that are really big. What a great setup for that overtime goal with Byron. Like it was, he swatted out of the air, went to Byron, goes back over to Byron. Pietrangelo is a monster. And I keep saying this I know I harp on this all year. I'm like, you wait, this guy's going to lead this team, and he's doing it. But I think, Carey Price is pretty tough to contend with. Like this tells the tale, 17, 13, 10. Like that's crazy. Yeah. And I just, again, as good as Fleury is, he's also very protected. And you can see if you can get by him.
We have a question from Xavier and you and Michael. Do you believe a little bit what Montreal can go to Stanley Cup and the final Stanley Cup and maybe win? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I said this to Pierre in the first round. I'm like, I think they're Dallas of last year, that they're going to get a lot of miles from huge performances. I also think that you're starting to see, and I also said this, and we talked about this, Pierre, which is once Cole Caulfield scores in the playoffs, he's just going to keep scoring. And now you've seen him get two. He's already been playmaking. And you watch him last night, and he does something special. Look at him on the breakaway. He reads the play. He splits the D. They get him the puck from Suzuki. He can accelerate. He has what we call separation speed. Like that's very tough at the NHL level. And he's like, you're not catching him. And he does that in small areas. This guy's just going to get better and better. You've got an elite guy there that's going to just help you get over the hump. So he's arriving at the right time, Pierre. I think he's realizing he can help this team get in the final.
Yeah. I agree with you about that one over there. We have a couple of comments about like this, return that. But I want to mention, I don't know, can you see the graphic, Michaels?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. So my point to you, Michael, is this part. Let me check if I can change it, this one over there.
On paper, Vegas is killing them in a bunch of areas.
I don't know if I can do it. But I want to, let's try this.
Oh, that's interesting. They have more
can you see the shot, 5 versus 5? All right. 35-43 for a 5 versus 5, okay? But here's my point to you, Michael. Scoring chance. Montreal have more scoring chance, Michael, against Vegas with only 27 shots on the net. Isn't that crazy? So a lot of shots from Vegas came from outside, like on the periphery, and not from the inside. So the chance to score was more for Montreal last night versus Vegas, where they almost double shot Montreal.
So we've talked about this before, where Vegas has always, like last year, they had a lot of trouble scoring because they're just about putting volume on net and trying to get junk in front. And they've got real good D, and if the D pinch in and contribute, and you're seeing Pietrangelo scores again, you've seen Martinez contribute. I think that's their style. They don't have great east-west movement. They found that one seam, That's all it is. It's a set play where they move down, they open up that top seam, and they go weak side, and that's good. But they're not going boom, 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 looking for space. And I think Montreal has that ability to find. They have players like that will get behind the D or that will move the D around in the goalie, and that's not Vegas. Vegas is just putting it in a net and trying to get junk. And they have that one pass, and I think Montreal took away that lateral. And that's how complicated it is. They're just not a fancy offensive team. So I'm not really surprised. I think it's a weakness for Vegas, in my opinion.
Yep, we have a couple of good people we want to mention. Matt Mann is aboard. Denise Ellen Shalifo, welcome. The Goods is aboard. Welcome back, The Goods. But I think Matt Mann brings something great to you about the fact that Suzuki is the best center in the series. I think he's right about that right now. I think he stepped up more. I think he's really, with that line. It was great for me to see the third line produce yesterday, Michael, because that's maybe that everybody think they are the off. Right now, Byron scored the game before. Anderson scored 2 goals yesterday. That's good to that third line because prior to this, it was most about Suzuki, Toffoli, and the 4 line. Usually the goal came from them, right? I think Anderson, one thing we mentioned, and I think you said this also, was I agree with you about he has a lot of opportunities to score. Whatever he was off, he did not score a lot of goals since the beginning of the playoff. It was an opportunity. Yeah. He was a lot of chance, but he did not put the puck inside the net, right? And that's paid off yesterday because he never gave up. Yeah. He was resilient every game. So it's good to see the third line step up yesterday.
Look at who's at the top of this list, Pierre. I mean, you've got Nick Waugh. So this goes to what's such a strange thing. Carlson's next, but Nick Waugh is handling the puck a lot.
Yeah, we have maybe his best game of the playoff, Michael.
I'm curious. So this is just one game.
This is game number 3. Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah. All right. I was surprised if this would be
Yeah. This is a game number 3 about that one over there, but
that makes sense.
Overall, I think, I think he was very good. But let's give you an idea yesterday. Anderson, Nicolas Roy. Again, you can see Suzuki in the top right there with Petrangelo. Patrick have not a bad game. Honestly, Cole Caulfield, again, another great performance of Cole Caulfield yesterday about that one over there. By the way, we have Mr. Carey Price, Michael. I think he just got his massage this morning by Angela. He got his...
saved their ass last night, Carey Price.
It was unbelievable, Xavier, for sure. It's great to see the crew of Frank Well this morning aboard. We're here. We just want to say hi, everybody. Matt Mann, we have Zav, Carey Price, Johnny is another person. We're there for Frank Wells. So thanks, guys, to be here this morning with us. Everything like that. And finally, Michael, before we jump quickly, quick, before we go the next thing we want to talk about this is what you think about, because we're going to be live tonight, not this one. I'll be live tonight, but what you think about this game tonight between the New York Islanders, Tampa Bay? What your prediction, what your preview of this game, what you expect?
I mean, I got to think the Islanders are going to figure out a way to win, but it's not going to be easy. I think the first goal is so important. But the way we saw Tampa clamp down last game is going to be really tough. But I got to think they're going to pull one more out in this series. I don't know if they'll get beyond that, but I think they'll win one more, and it might be tonight. I think they're going to they'll win one in Nassau, I got to think.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really tough. I mean, this whole thing, the whole enchilada is Tampa's to lose. Whether not just the series, but the Stanley Cup. I mean, so this is going to be, they got an uphill battle.
I just want to, not to correct you, Matt, but I don't want to, I really believe Nicolas Roy played the third line yesterday. Yeah, he had a couple of shifts maybe, but it was really Alex Dach play with Pacioretty and Stone yesterday. Dach have a good game yesterday. Have 7 shots, Michael, 6 shots on Carey Price between Stone and Pacioretty. But again, Philippe Danault, Michael, played the most minute on the ice, and he, again, completely neutralized the first line. They have only 1 point. It was Pacioretty. It was the first point of the playoff in 3 games. So we don't mention enough about Philippe Danault again, what he
No,
does.
he's played. I was going to say that last night to you, Pierre. Like he's so solid at the center ice position. Like you wish his offensive production was more, but he doesn't give guys any room. He's winning faceoffs. He's on his opposing center on the puck constantly, and he's always on the right side of the puck. I mean, that's what you hope for. I think it's just a tough player because he doesn't have great offensive capability. He's not creative that way, but
Yeah, I'll be honest
he's
with
such a useful player.
I've been honest with you. The player for right now for Montreal playing the head of Max Pacioretty with a lot of stuff I heard like from Pierre Maguire. They constantly on the head of Max Pacioretty. I believe Michael. I see Weber yesterday. I see Gallagher. I feel they play with some injuries. Gallagher they have a great game yesterday, but I don't want to blame him. He do his best he can. But again, the guy is like after 20 seconds, Michael is dead. I'm always worried when he played the second far away from the bench. I'm worried about that. And I think he still play. He have an injury. He's still the one he got before the end of the season. And I think Weber right now is getting more hurt.
Yeah, he's never been healthy.
No, I see by the way he's control.
Pierre, the absolute worst skater on any of these teams is Kotkaniemi. Would you disagree with that?
Yeah.
Like it drives me nuts watching this guy skate. His stride is so it's like he's a tricycle. It's like he's got one glide leg and one push leg. It's bizarre.
Yep.
I don't know how you can play in the NHL with that level of skating. I don't get it.
This is a great comment, Michael, about Matt Mann, because, we got Pacioretty for many years in Montreal, right? And Pacioretty not good all against, like he don't play well, can he have pressure? That's a great comments about that one over there. And then secondly, Michael, it's, Weber is Weber, right? He don't have the same speed he has, but again, it's like the same thing. It's not easy to go around Pietrangelo. It's not easy to go around Weber. You try to go on the other side, right? You try to go to the left side because you see the right side is hard. So Pacioretty right now face Weber, and the same thing with Toffoli versus Pietrangelo. So those guys on the defense
constantly, right?
Yes, yeah. So that's hard about that one over there. So sometimes we don't give enough credit. And Weber right now, he plays solid on the playoff, Michael, right now. He's always the cap control. He controls so good. His cap control right now. I'm impressive the way they stop most of the time the transition of Vegas at the entry because the defenseman is right there. They don't push back all the way.
They're on the puck. They don't give it up.
The only thing I would say Montreal was off yesterday, Michael, and that's my review. They are off at the neutral zone. So my point to you is the off rush. So when you do a breakout on the defensive side, right, and now you have the pass, so example, D to D, and then Weber have the puck. When you hit the first pass on the neutral zone, if you forward, Michael, is off. When I said off, they are not skating. They wait for the puck. It's not good in hockey anymore in NHL.
You're saying Montreal or
yeah,
Vegas?
Montreal. It was completely off yesterday because of that part. So, example, D to D, then you have a pass, breakout. Now you hit Gallagher, example. But Gallagher was waiting for the puck at the red line, and then because he's off, he can go nowhere. And the transition after that to go on the entrance was difficult for them. And that's what you need to get better. One team does absolutely amazing is Tampa Bay, Michael. They are always on the transition with a pass for Edmund on the winger, on the Kucherov, sometimes it's center, and they are always in movement, go in. So you have a big difference, guys, to understand when you go in neutral zone to go in entry zone. If you don't have the speed at 80 miles per hour, 100 miles per hour, it's easy for the defense to cut you. But if you're fooling speed right there, it's harder for the defenseman to get your cap control. And that's what Montreal have to be better. Just a second at that area right there. I feel like Philippe Danault, another example, while waiting for the puck on the board, and Lekanen. And I see so many times and it's hard to restart after that because you're completely off. You have no speed, so you have to go from
No,
0 to 60 miles per hour. It's
I
hard,
mean,
Michael.
so first of all, Vegas plays this all year long. They are very much comfortable moving the puck up under pressure, but it's always under pressure because they funnel themselves to the wall. They'll try to go mid lane and then because the strategy is normally swing wide or drive mid lane, move the puck wide, right? It's one of those things to open it up and attack with speed. And I don't see that Montreal is a transition team that way. Their D don't have regrouping time because they're always stepping up and breaking up a play. So that's the challenge there, right? Normally what you would do is you'd have one up, one down, but they're both up. So you'd have one up, one down, it goes back, swing the other side, you got momentum, the wingers swing through, right? That's so hard in the NHL, especially in the playoffs. So I think when you look at Vegas, their percentage of getting into the offensive zone is very high. It's like 55%, but it's always under pressure. So they're not even attacking with speed. And then
No,
Montreal,
what you do, Vegas, Michael, this season, what you do? It's a long stretch pass to the winger,
right?
and
They're
usually
trying to
they
push
tip
it
the
back.
puck or they dump the puck to end up on the opposite side, and now the
Tic-tac-toe.
winger on the right side drive all the way for a check over there. And
Exactly.
remember what you said, the second one or the second laner pick up
Yep.
after the forecheck, he retrieve the puck, and then after that
Yep.
they try the back door. So Vegas
Yep.
have that way all the time.
All the time.
Tampa is coming on the
Montreal
rush.
can't-
That's the
Montreal,
difference
what you
between
need
both.
to do is you need to get motion. They need to get some forwards not stuck in their lanes. But
Yeah.
it's
We have Zebi said Dano here have visited the best player of the team. I really believe, Michael, every game right now Dano play, he's getting 100,000 more for his next contract.
but he's such a hard player to pay. Like it's like a Zach Hyman discussion, and he doesn't score as much as Zach, but he does so many other things. He's going to get more in Montreal than anywhere else, in my opinion.
Again, in the chat over there, Danuski Lekanen, the best player of the team. I think it's a concept, Xavier, we said to you, but I think, Lekanen, Michael, does the details of the game. Montreal right now, Michael, I think they are 0-17 on PK.
Wow.
So that gives you an idea. And the reason right now, Michael, the biggest struggle, but I think it's because the power play is off. They are minus like at 10% right now. And no team, Michael, win the Stanley Cup on when you have a percentage below, I think it was 11 or 10% to win the Stanley Cup. So that gives you an idea right now. But now my point to you guys is this part. Montreal was lucky to win yesterday, Michael.
Oh, totally.
Right?
Well, they were. I mean,
we cannot.
Carey Price saved their ass.
We can be excited we win, but I believe we have to relax here and say, wait a minute. We stole a game yesterday, and we are 2-1. We are on the right. We have an advantage of the ice right now. We feel good. We have 2W, everything like that. So my point is, wait a minute. It's far to win this series, guy. It's going to be hard. It's going to be not easy. And we take much more of what we saw yesterday. Montreal play again like this tomorrow night. They maybe lose. The way we did yesterday to win, it's because the gift of Fleury, and that's make us to win. So for me, I see the excitement. I was like awake until 4. I'm crazy about that. I understand, but I'm still realistic behind that. I still believe. Wait a minute.
Thankful for every day.
Exactly. So
you got to be thankful for every day that you're there because, like, you did steal a game, and your goalie is elite, and that's why you stole a game, and that's what you want. That's what it boils down to. Right?
I know we want to go on the. So many people want to talk about Montreal. It's crazy, but Michael, I have a question from. It's not a question from Michael Rosenblatt, but can you see what he said? I see him winning the Selke one day if he play like he does right now. Are you agree with that? I agree with that.
I mean, he absolutely has that ability. What we see, though, is how are you going to win it versus a Barkov that gets 70, 80 points? How are you going to win it versus Bergeron that gets 35 goals and 70 points? Like
exactly what I want to mention this to you, Michael. That's the point right there. That's a great statement. Because now the Selke is not only defensive like he was like Bob Gainey in the past, right? And now it's a mix of offensive and defensive. Like Barkov Michael, he was the number one of the Flames Panthers, blocked the most the shot this year. That's crazy when you think about that, right? Percentage of face-off was great also. And then you have to score. You have to have a percentage, a point on the board. And Dano, that's what he's missing. Dano is just maybe a 10 goal scorer, unfortunately.
That's the problem. I mean, if he has a good year, it's 13 to 15 goals, right? So
yeah. Thank you so much, Xavier. Have an amazing, great day. Look, guys, we promised to do this. I know it's already 12, Michael. Can you stay 15 more minutes?
Yeah, we have some intern interviews. Let me just
bless you.
Talk to them and push it back a half hour. Okay. So I'll probably have to step out for a second because we got like a couple pucks what do you call it? Hockey Nation Live intern interviews. So
okay. So how we do the game night, guys, is this part over there. For everybody is this way. So we have a deal and we have a no deal. Like that. So Michael DeVillano is going to be the GM of your trade. So if you want a proposal, a deal, like example, you want to trade Jake Eichel to Los Angeles, Villardi and Kopitar. What you need to put in the chat for the message is this. You have to mention Michael DeVillano, who is the GM. He is the GM of Buffalo or he is the GM of Los Angeles. Last time we did it with nobody knew who was the GM. So we want to be sure. So if you make a proposal of the trade to Michael, you need to tell him Michael is the GM of Buffalo and the deal I propose to Michael is Villardi and Kopitar to Eichel. And Michael is going to say deal or no deal, and he will tell you why is you have no deal. And also, he maybe offer you another back proposal. And then you guys in the chat said no deal or deal. People can also join the conversation with that part. So we're going to go through with you guys, your proposal. And I'm not going to select one person. You can put your proposal in the chat, and that'd be awesome. That'd be great about that one over there. We know Xavier is leaving, so Xavier, have a great day. That'd be awesome. So Michael is sit right there, waiting on the phone to wait about that. So you have to call him if you don't mind. That'd be awesome. And we'll see what happened about that one over there. And I'll just wait, Michael, to someone propose you something. And we can go from there.
Sorry, I just had to. All right, so we bumped one interview. All right, sorry about that.
No problem.
All right, so do we have any deals proposed yet?
We're waiting right now. Anybody? Michael Rosenblatt usually is good about that one over there.
Let's take a look and see. The other thing we can do, Pierre, is pick a team for me and let's think of what the trade would be.
How many people picked the score last night except me? You have 3 winners yesterday. 2 winners. We have Canadiens, John, you went 3-2, but you didn't see OT. We have better at you. Peter, Swing something last name. And also Yamo again.
Let's see.
All right, so we have one right here. Patrick Lenné for Carter Price, first round pick and a third round pick for Columbus Go. Michael is a Columbus GM, Michael, or he's a Columbus Panthers? Michael is calling you, Michael. You're welcome, Canadian Jen.
Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at that deal. Patrick Laine for Carter Verhaeghe, a first round pick and a third round pick.
You are Columbus, Michael.
Yeah, if I'm Columbus,
you are.
I think I would probably take this deal. I think the problem is the first round pick is going to be late. So that's the only problem. Carter Verhaeghe had one really good year, but I do think he's a very good player. I like him because he can play center or wing. And if I'm rebuilding, the problem is that Laine's got the ability to score 40 goals. I'm just not sure that he's going to do that. I feel like I would want one more piece to this trade, Pierre, from Florida to do the deal. And it might just be a prospect like what D prospects do you guys have?
Or D,
Yeah.
not much,
I mean,
not many.
because the first round pick is like going to be really late.
Of course, Max, you can do it, no problem.
I feel like Pierre, I can probably get more for him.
So no deal.
There's one problem. There's one huge problem, Pierre. The contract.
Yeah.
Do I want to sign Patrick Laine at 8.2 million?
Oh, he said that to add Matt Kerstead.
And I don't know him very well, but I think I would do this deal. It depends on the other deals I have, but if I'm Columbus, I would do the deal. I would probably ask for one more piece to the puzzle, which if I look at Florida, I might ask you for Noah Juleson, but you probably don't care.
Prospect for North Dakota, he said. I know Kerstead, yeah.
I don't know. Where did he play?
North Dakota.
Okay. Yeah, I would either want Noah Juleson or Kerstead. If I think Noah's healthy, then I want Noah Juleson. So you give me a first this year, I would probably bump the third to a second. So I want a first, second, Verhaeghe, and then Noah Juleson.
Michael, me, I would trade this way. I think I will trade Wigard. I will ask her for, if I was Columbus, I ask them a defenseman already in the team. So Wigard with Verhaeghe and the first round pick, because the first round pick is late.
Do you think that Florida would part with Uyghur?
I'm saying again?
I find it hard to believe that Florida would part with a guy that got 36 points in 54 games as a D. And I don't think Laine's. I think the biggest problem you're going to argue over is the contract of Laine.
But again, Michael, to iterate Jones or Laine, Columbus have to add a defenseman in the deal. And
well, that's why I'm asking for Noah.
Also a center.
That's why I'm asking for Noah Juleson.
And also a center.
Yeah, so Carter, so first pick, a second pick, Carter Verhaeghe, and Noah Juleson.
Right, Nelson is going to be maybe a 5 or 6, but again you get a second first round pick, a second and the first one over there. It's something to think about this, but I would like to prefer to get a player established already. Like before you get Verhaeghe, he's only have a good year.
That's the problem. He's only had one good year, so it's a bit of a risk. I like what I see. I like them in Tampa. And I think that it all depends on how much you value him. They got a lot of value out of Jack Roslovic, and he's not likely to leave. Is Carter Verhaeghe going to leave Columbus? I bet you he stays if he has a primetime role and he can perform. I think that's almost the spot that they're in. Like, he's a 6'2 center. He had 18 goals in 43 games. He outscored Laine. Now, presumably a much better team. I don't know. It's a tough call.
Yep.
I kind of feel like I would do it just to be nice, but I think there'd be better deals out there.
Yeah. Are you agree, Michael, with it? Because Max and bring this. I did not like the 3 stars. He had a Price, Caulfield, and Anderson yesterday. Yesterday it was Price, Pietrangelo, and Anderson. I'll be honest with you, Michael, because Caulfield, the problem with Caulfield yesterday, he did not play during the overtime.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. Like I don't know.
I think yesterday, I'll be honest with you, I think because Caulfield, the problem with Caulfield yesterday, I don't think so. He was really involved with the play or the effect. He had two good shifts. I think after 45 shot, Michael, I will go more with a player like Vegas. But I think for me, the Vegas player yesterday was more Nicolas Roy compared to Pietrangelo yesterday. I think I will go with Price, Anderson, and Nicolas Roy. Roy was very involved yesterday during the game.
All right, so there's a question around. What's the next one? There's a question around Kulikov. I don't think he's a priority anywhere, to be honest with you.
He is a UFA. What do you feel?
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think he'll get a last minute deal somewhere, but I don't think he's a priority for anybody.
Michael, if you are Toronto GM, would you trade Marner? If so, for who?
Never. Why would I trade that guy? I would move very heavily to try to move Tavares. Marner is 22 or 23, and he's an elite player that it's almost impossible to find. So I honestly just feel like
By Max.
you can't have three guys at 10, 11 million. I just don't think that works. And I like Tavares, but he's a 1990 birth year, so he's going to be 32. I would move him and get a couple parts that are going to help me long term, and I'd try to keep Zach Hyman.
Now, because you cannot trade Tavares for any reason, right? If you trade Marner, because you try to, I think the money situation going to put Toronto on the wrong path, I believe, for me. But
for sure, but that's not Marner's problem. Marner is a guy that
but if you have to trade Marner,
I would. If you had to trade Marner, I would never trade him.
But you have to because the situation. I just question this one. Where do you believe he will go, or what you get for Marner?
I mean, what's the value of Marner is different. I would never trade him personally. Like I'm not, you're gonna get like 10 years out of this guy at elite level. So you don't even know what the best level of him is. What is he worth? He's like, he's a top 10 NHL player. So what's a top 10 NHL player worth? Is he worth, you could swap him 1-for-1 for a Jack Eichel. It's a very different type of player, but he's shown he's got maybe better production. He's not going to score as many goals, but he's probably not going to be as big of a problem either. So,
now, okay, I will
level.
send my question. Maybe the people will like my question that way. And my book,
Tavares, yeah.
On my book, Michael, he's not a best 10 NHL player. I don't say he's maybe 12, 13, but my point to you, because he did not score yet 30 goal, 40 goal, or that kind of level of hockey, and because he's really feed Matthews. If without Matthews, how do you see Marner and
listen, guys, I've seen it doesn't matter
or something like that. Do you feel like Marner is a guy can score 30 goals, 35 goals in NHL?
Yeah, if you say to Marner, the guy's had 26 goals, he had 20 in 55 games this year. You haven't even seen the best of him yet, Pierre. I've seen the kid since he's 11. He's elite player. It doesn't matter who you're around. He's better than a Johnny Gaudreau or all these similar guys. He has something that most players don't.
So for you, he's really a franchise player at the level, like not compared to McDavid, but what McDavid bring, what McKinnon does, what the franchise player they do. You feel Marner is the kind of caliber of player.
That's where I draw the line, Pierre. That's how elite he is. Okay. To me, it's like here's Marner, and he could go here or here, right? But it's not going to be down here. You're going to have guys like McDavid. You'll have Draisaitl, you'll have McKinnon, you'll have those guys in there. He's going to score with them, like as far as points, because he gets a lot of assists. A lot of pucks go through him. But then there's a lot of stuff he doesn't do without the puck, and he's going to have to make a choice at some point. Like, am I going to be a complete player? And am I going to make myself battle through the adversity? Because you can see the immaturity where there's pressure on him, and he's like, oh, that didn't work. He expects everything to work, Pierre. And so I think that's what he's going to just have to get over. That's a much smaller leap to make. So to answer your question, I think he's overpaid for this point in his career. He is elite, and he will just get better. And it's going to be in small increments that you maybe don't see, but his stats will be 90 to 120 points every year.
Great point, Michael. I think that's reached exactly what Julius said. Too much money for someone cannot up this game on the playoff.
He can. He will.
I think he's still not sure yet. I think he had two very bad playoff, I'll be honest with you. The last two with, they didn't perform very well. I said the best one for him, it was 2018 with Boston Bruins, game number 2, game number 3, right?
Yep.
But I think you guys with Julius and you, Michael, you nail it for me. He should not get that kind of money yet at that age.
No,
That. And I think they
he's
gave too
overpaid.
much money on that. I think $2 million, and those $2 million, Michael, maybe hurt the team right now because then they can sign
Probably.
anybody.
Yeah, I think they made a mistake. I just think that they gave those guys a little bit too much money too early. But they started. It started with Matthews. There was all this hoopla because of Eichel and McDavid, and you go, well, Mitch Marner is as valuable, so you know. But then to go sign Tavares helped them, but not enough. I think Tavares is what he is, right? So I think the guy you concentrate on is Tavares. If
That's
Tavares
why it's
thinks
always a risk, Michael, to sign those players at $10 million and plus. If you have two of them and it's a team, it's very hard. 3 is harder, and that's complicated right now. The movement of tempo.
Sure. But okay, let's also be realistic. Look at the Toronto players that are coming up. You have Nicholas Robertson.
Why he's really struggled this year.
He's not going to struggle long term, Pierre.
From what we heard, Michael, they are really scared right now. He's maybe wary about that's why.
I am not worried about Nick Robertson personally. I think he is another guy that has always been able to score. I actually think he's got more ability than his brother.
Why he was not played this year? Why he did not perform?
He was hurt. Was hurt at the beginning of the year, and he started late. And he's going to be fine long term. You got to look at him and go, this guy, you have to project him a little bit, but he's not like, how old is he?
He should be 21.
20? Really?
21?
Well, let's look. He's a 2001, Pierre.
So he's 20. He's going to turn 21.
But he's not. He's not 20 until September. He's 19, Pierre.
I understand that, but my point to you is like the way he was thinking about him.
There's nobody worried about Nick Robertson. He's going to be a big-time goal scorer at some point. So you look at that, and that gives you some salary relief. You got guys like Sandin, they'll give you salary relief. They need to come up with a better system of graduating players at different levels.
But what's the situation with goaltender?
Well, I mean, I think they're going to get somebody, but I don't know. They seem to think it's Jack Campbell. I don't think it's Jack Campbell. Do you?
No.
I don't believe it is. I think that they have to do something there.
That's a lot of money there.
Because Campbell is what? He's 29, and was he like $1.5 million, $2 million? It wasn't very much.
Oh yeah, he's not there. But my point is like to get a caliber elite goaltender, it's at least a minimum $4 to $6 million.
Oh, probably, yeah. They have to. The biggest problem is that extra 10 mil, because you look at guys like Morgan Rielly's on a very favorable contract, Nylander's on a very favorable contract. You paid a little bit too much maybe for Marner and Matthews, but it's not crazy. So you could manage it. But they can't constantly
coming next year after that.
That's true. Because Rielly's what, $6 million on 1 or 2 more years?
Yep.
Yeah, but he's not going to get he'll get 7 or 8. I don't know. They have a lot of really good young prospects, and this is a cap issue, not a money issue, obviously. But I don't know.
They have a question here.
It's a tough call.
You have a question. Piqué Subban take a big cut when his contract is over. Do you think he will shine again or on a better team?
By the way, you also have Amirov coming. So you start going down the list. They got lots of interesting prospects. Abramov is real good. They got some players that we don't. I'm not too worried. They do a really good job on that stuff. Anyways, what were we saying? What was
Piqué Subban?
Big? Oh yeah. No, PK for me is always just kind of.
Next question. Traeger, maybe a $5 million, 3 years.
That would definitely be a big contract for him. I feel like he's 4.
Yep. I would feel good 3 years, $4 million.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This next trade's ridiculous. Please show it.
What do you think about that one over there?
The more players you have making big bucks, the less chance of winning. Well, I think we see in Tampa, they've done a reasonably good job of controlling salary. It's not like you don't pay your top players well because they have 2 guys at 9.5 and they have another guy at 8, but they are under pressure because of the fives, right? It's the middle guys that give them depth, but it's also the middle guys that they might have to sacrifice. So they have a system where they know they have guys that are aging 22, 23, 24, not 18, 19, 20. So they have layers of prospects that mature and they're patient with them and they keep retaining them. And then you see, like Verhaeghe pops through, they can't keep him. He plays great in Florida. Colton, you've got Joseph, you've got Barboulay, and then they got younger guys. So that's their way of approaching, and that's the model. So I think you can pay your top guys, but you got to
The
have
next thing
layers of
about that, what do you think about that one over there?
absolutely no deal if I'm Dallas.
I will do it.
Rupe Hintz for Dano,
Yeah.
Ylonen, and what was the other one? The second?
I'm sorry? Oh, yeah. I do it right away. They are winning, but with Ilonen is going to be a top 9 players.
Yeah, the Ylonen thing probably pushes it over the top because Ylonen definitely will be worst case, the top 9.
Yeah.
So I think I would do it if I'm Dallas, maybe. I don't want to give up Rupe Hintz, though. Like, none of those guys are Rupe Hintz. That's an unusual player. The problem for me with Hintz is his health, right? Like, when he gets hurt, but you see Dallas's night and day with and without him.
Yep.
So you go, can I manage his health? That's the trick, because he's still a very young player.
Yeah. But it's a good, fair trade, I believe.
It's not unfair for sure. It's
Yeah.
definitely getting value for Hintz.
I agree with Johnny about that one. Michael,
Yeah, I would not do it.
Michael Rosenblatt tried to follow you, but I'm not sure which one you're talking
That's
about.
false.
About that. What's up, Not Fair? Welcome back. Whoop, not this one.
What's false?
I'm sorry again?
I'm just curious what he thinks is false.
I really like Barry Boulet and Colton.
Yeah, that's why I say those guys are on the come up, right? So what he does is he has prospects at different age bands. So as they move up together, eventually they're ready to take the position of a guy that is making more. And that keeps them at the cap without giving up their superstar players. And, at some point you run out of, you give up really good talent, but that's how you do it. That's the only opportunity. Otherwise, you don't trade a Marner. You worry about what's the layers beneath a Marner and a Matthews. Tavares is different because he's older, and you already have 2 guys at that band. So you got to think, can I move Tavares and have 2 $5 million guys that are going to do more for me?
But I think the influence, Michael, and Canada versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, Michael, they control the money lower, the tax, everything like that, and the good team.
Right.
When you go to Toronto, I think they pay too much Matthews, they pay too much Tavares, they pay too much Marner. I think Montreal paid too much Subban at some level. I think Price could also 10.5. It's a lot of money about that part of it. I think Julius, I reached the point to read Julius earlier, where you better to have those $2-3 million, Michael, or at least 1.5 too much. If you accumulate 2 of them, it's $3 million you can pay to the third line, right? The Armia, the Coleman, the Goodrow.
Absolutely.
Those stuff. And that's why I believe Toronto is in the. And then after that, you have to be sure you have a good prospect and the backup for your forehand.
Right.
I think Tampa did a great job to pick like Doe Colton.
That's why I say Tampa's the model, right?
Everything like that.
They have their superstar goalie, they have their superstar defenseman, they have 3 superstar forwards, and they have them a little bit less than market. And that gave them that flexibility. Like, how much better would Toronto look if they had Tavares at 9.5, Marner at 9.5, and Matthews at 9.5? It would totally change the game because now you've got like $4.5 million to keep Zach Hyman.
Yeah. And that's the reason why, again, the way to stay there is always, Michael, 2, 3, 4 years, and then you have to rebuild. You cannot be, because the money, the signature players, everything like that. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, because you look at the guys, they've been doing this a long time, Pierre. It took them a long time to break through. So, like, Kucherov is what, a 91? And Stamkos is a 90. Palat's like a 90 or a 91. Point is a little younger, but not much. He's 27, 28. Gord is a 90. He might even be an 80. Is Johnson a 90? I think he's a 90.
Oh, yeah. Should be
right.
close
So
to
you
that
start
part
with,
over there.
that's what I say. It's like you get a bunch of guys around one age and you work with them, right? You don't gut it because you had, he can't perform in the playoffs. Well, they could have said that about any of those guys.
Yep.
It's hard to win in the NHL.
It's not easy. The parity, Michael, is really hard.
The parity is real, like it's just a reality.
Yep.
So you don't create like instability by constantly gutting your team. So Braden Point is the youngest of all. He's a 96. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So then you go, okay, well, we can keep cycling parts in. At some point, you've got Palat is a 91 because he played under 17s against Ryan and we were in London. Hedman is a 90, right?
They are a good team. Right. Their structure is great. Their base foundation.
It's great.
Or they've been together for years, Michael. It takes time to build that team, right?
Here, Alex Killorn is an 89.
Yeah.
Right? So you go, okay, at some point you have to cycle out a Killorn and who's taking a spot. You have to cycle out a Johnson who's taking a spot, and they're going to be less money. But that doesn't mean they're not going to be able to compete. It just depends on the quality of the next group. It's tricky. But the guy that's young is Vasilevsky.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you need. You need a goalie, goaltender like that.
Superstar goalie, right? Guy's a 94.
Yep. This was a great show. We passed again almost 90 minutes, guys. It's like it's weekend. We appreciate, Michael, your time this week, Saturday, everything like that. So we really appreciate everybody join us this morning. We wish we could do more.
Canadian Giant.
We need more like a deal and no deal, but we're going to come back a little bit later. I think it was a good subject. A lot of great subject, Michael, this morning. Think about Kaprisov and Barkov and everything like that, Montreal, everything like that. So
right.
I would be interested to talk about Tampa, what their move at the offseason, because I think the team's going to change a little bit. Their image will be Tampa, Michael, over there for sure.
Yep. Canadian Giant says, I wouldn't pay $10 million for the whole city of Toronto. Are those Canadian dollars or American, though?
Need a refill. Frenchy need a refill. He saw my empty cup, so I'm almost at the end of the show. That's the reason I'm
Matthews and Tavares are making 10 million Canadian. You wouldn't complain.
Yeah. Colton a replace for Killorn. I think at some point Colton is going to be a good career in hockey. I think he's a young, good rookie.
I think Joseph probably is more might be that role. Like those are two pretty good players, and then you got Barboulay. So,
yep, that'd be awesome. So, great show, Michael. Great show. Glad to have you. We're going to be live tonight for the Islanders in Tampa, but. Can wait tomorrow night, game number 4, Montreal Canadiens, of course. And thank you very much, you guys. Hopefully you click on the likes and you appreciate to support us first. And then it's not easy to do shows during the weekend. Everybody's busy with family and summertime. The weather is nicer, everything like that. And COVID is less. And for every dad, we wish you a happy Father's Day tomorrow. And enjoy your weekend with your family, friends. And be ready. More hockey is coming for the week. What time is the game tonight?
What time is the game tonight, Pierre?
8 o'clock tonight.
8 Eastern, right? So.
8 Eastern time. And thank you, Michael, to join us this morning, Rosenblatt. And of course, Lightning we trust from Oleg Galevsky. Michael, it's great to see him. He's from Russia. He's always here in the morning, everything like that. So thanks, Oleg, to be a part of this. And have a great day, Chance. Michael, we let you go. And we see you. Thanks again. I look forward to see you next time, Michael. Enjoy your rest of your day. And definitely back to you really later. Thanks, Brian.
Lady Bing tonight.
Right. Have a good one, buddy. Here we go, everybody. Have an amazing, great day. I look forward to see you tomorrow. And tonight, 7:45, for another live stream with the Hockey Nation Live show.
What if I open my soul? Here I stand by myself on my own. What if I lose all control and take a step out into the unknown? Oh, oh, oh. What do I know? What's going on now? Is this another breakdown? You and me, should I let go? I do really want to know what's going
Thank you,
on
Oleg.
now.
Always a pleasure, buddy. Nicolas, bonne journée. Oui, Nicolas, 7:45.
What do I know? I need to open my eyes and get a touch of that reality. Don't want another surprise.
Merci, Nick.
I'd rather want you to just let me be. Oh, oh, oh. What do I know?